The American people are not at all happy with Donald Trump's handling of either inflation or the economy. And here's a little bit of CNN's Harry Enton describing how bad the numbers are for Trump.
Look, voters on Trump and inflation. He won the 2024 election because he was more entrusted on inflation than Kamala Harris was, led by a margin of 9 points. Look at where his net approval stands today, though, on inflation. My goodness gracious. Into the gutter we go, underwater we go. He's 25 points underwater. My goodness gracious. That is where the Little Mermaid is, and he is matching the Little Mermaid. Yeah, if Republicans in Congress think that they can escape the wrath of the voters when it comes to inflation, I have a bit of a rude awakening for them. Trust which party more on inflation? You go back to the 2022 midterms, look at this. Republicans led by 13 points on which party was more trusted on inflation. Look at where we are now. Nearly a 15-point shift in the Democrats' direction. It's within the margin of error, but the Democrats up by a point. What is the top issue for you right now? It's a runaway. It's inflation. It's 34% compared to the economy, which is basically very similar at 16%. Medicare and Social Security at 14%. But the bottom line is voters in poll after poll after poll say that Donald Trump has taken his eye off the ball, off the big issue of the day, which is inflation.
I really should have gotten into that game. I didn't know that there was such an element of color commentary, like how much fun you can have. Like the inflation numbers they've gone too deep, they've dug too deep, too greedily. They're down with the Balrog now. Could have had a lot of fun with that. But the numbers are really bad. And I think the biggest problem for Trump, I hope at least, if we're living in a rational society, is like under Biden, you have inflation that for a variety of reasons is bad, if improving at the end of his term. Supply chain issues obviously drive up prices, let alone, they pumped a lot of stimulus into the economy, which everybody forgets, by the way, that the first 2 rounds of that, I think, were under Donald Trump, but everybody pretends that Biden did all of it. But anyway, so Biden wasn't seen to be doing enough, quickly enough to stop it, and he wasn't good at communicating what he was doing. Donald Trump is not only, as I said earlier, doing this without any regard, like he's choosing to do this. None of these tariffs need to happen. None of this needs to be going on. But then also, he's not only not empathizing with the American people, he is actively gaslighting them every day, spitting in their face with stupid comments like, "Oh, it's a perfect number. It's down to nothing. Prices are down. Gas is less than $1.90 or whatever." Like he is telling them not to believe their lying eyes when they're at the pump, when they're in the store. How can that possibly be a good strategy when people are already against you on the topic?
Yeah, so there's the gaslighting is super important because that's what Biden tried and the Democrats tried. Oh no, Biden is young and dynamic. Behind the scenes, trust us, right? And oh yeah, we're gonna pass all of our priorities. Wink, right? And then they don't pass anything and Biden's not, and so they lost all credibility. That's why the Democrats are in the 20s now in approval rating. Even at a time when Trump has started to light himself on fire, the Democrats can't pick up steam. So if you think, oh well, that's terrible if you're on the left or you're a Democrat, etc. No, what I'm telling you is that's about to happen to Trump. Because in the old days, the reason why the Democrats got caught is because in the old days, CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, etc., would tell you, no, he is young and dynamic. Shut up. He is young and dynamic. And in fact, they did until about 3 months, 3-4 months left, right? So, and that would work. But because there's so much online media and other forms of media, it stopped working, especially after the debate. In the case of Donald Trump, yeah, Fox News in the old days and Trump himself, they had the 2 giant amplifiers and they were like, and they would just blast that message out. And the right wing would never hear any other message. So they would just believe that that was the news, right? Now they're getting the news from all over the place, Rogan and Dylan and all these different places, right? Podcasts and stuff. So now Trump's gonna get caught because his outrageous lies are too easily disprovable. And none of that matters, guys. What matters is, yes, but what am I paying for eggs? What am I paying for food and gas and clothes and those famous toys? You're gonna get $30 or $2, right? You're not gonna be able to trick people. Democrats kept thinking, oh no, we won't deliver on anything and we'll just trick people into voting for us. Now the Republicans have always done that. The corporate teams of both sides, that's their playbook. That's all they ever do, right? So now the Republican so-called populists, who are never populists to begin with, the Trump team, are like, oh yeah, we'll just trick them. We'll just have Donald Trump lie and Fox News lie. It stopped working. So here's Now let me describe the iceberg. Okay, actually first let me give you the polls that we're doing because I'm super curious what you guys are concerned about. So on TYT we have which worries you most right now? Ongoing inflation and high prices. That sounds pretty concerning. B is high interest rates, and that's still going to be an issue and now going to be a bigger issue, or tariffs. Okay, so that's up on TYT.com. In the live chat, and we do the show live 6 o'clock Monday through Friday. Make sure you're checking it out. How worried are you about rising inflation? Not at all, slightly, moderately, extremely. So look, I don't know that I would say extremely right now, but I'm curious what you guys think. That's why we do the polls. And then we like you participating and being part of the show. Okay, so now let me describe the iceberg. So first of all, one of our members wrote in on TYT.com. He has a funny handle, Jenk's left tricep of fury. Fair enough. Says, you think inflation is bad now. The tariffs have barely kicked in yet. It's coming. That's totally true. The lower level tariffs have begun to come in. When the higher level tariffs come, and then what, stay 2, 3, 6 months? Oh no, we're gonna hit that iceberg straight in the middle. Okay, so that's giant problem number one. Giant problem number two for him is outside of the economy. That's he's losing credibility with his own base. So I described all of that context for you guys because now when he says, oh, of course, Epstein files never existed and there were no clients. In the old days, that's all the right wing would have heard. Oh, apparently Epstein files never existed. Trump would say it, Fox News would say it, nobody would say otherwise. Charlie Kirk and others would go, oh, of course, the files never existed, right? And they would have gotten, now they can't get that message out. And everybody knows, yeah, the files existed, you jackasses, right? And his subservience to Israel would have never been noted. Forget Fox on CNN or MSNBC. That's the very last thing anyone would have talked about in mainstream media. So now everybody, including the right wing more, but the independents the most, are like, what are you doing, man? I mean, at every turn, you're not America first, you're Israel first, right? The reason why it matters in the context of this conversation is, now with an eroded credibility and a dispersed media, Trump comes in with his usual load of BS, and he thinks he's gonna be able to sell it. Now he's gonna find out it's like Trump water and Trump steaks and the 3 Trump casinos and every other business that he's bankrupted. At some point, you run into a brick wall of reality. Now, the last thing that I promise you guys that's so important. AI, look guys, I wear 2 different hats here, right? I host the show, but I also run this company. So I actually know folks in the business community in a way that others are not as familiar with, right? Just by the very context of this CEOing that I do, right? And I'm telling you right now, everyone I talk to in the business community, AI is coming and it's gonna wipe away a ton of jobs. Like people are gonna be shocked at how quick and severe it is. So not imminent like tomorrow, but imminent as in 6 months from now. People are gonna use that reaction we showed you in the beginning with about the 0.9 inflation increase. They're gonna be like, what is the unemployment number? No, this can't be real. So if you hit unemployment and inflation at the same time, boom, you ran right into the iceberg, you split the ship in half, and everybody's in the water. So that's where Trump's headed right now.
If we get the numbers.
At all.
Yeah, if we even know what the accurate
No, that's a great point, Jordan. And see, the market and corporate rule has this advantage, right? It has 1,000 disadvantages, but when they have unreliable numbers, they're gonna panic. Okay, if they sense unemployment's going up and inflation's going up, and they start to, and right now they don't sense any of it. The market's totally lulled to sleep. They're like, yummy tax bill. Deregulation and tax cuts, and they're on that high. Oh, they're like, oh, and Trump's a chicken anyway. He's gonna chicken out. Oh, none of these inflated tariffs are gonna matter. And they're like on this. And now I'm beginning to hear, as I said earlier in the week, the thing that you hear right before it crashes. Oh, this is This is a different type of market. No, this one is gonna just keep going up. Okay, we're almost done. The iceberg's right there, right? So they're not gonna hold on Trump. They're not gonna stick with, like there will come a point where they start to panic that they're not getting real numbers. And then they're gonna hit Trump.
Yeah, and you'll have the ADP numbers as well. So you'll have some insight into the reality of the situation. But I will say, already starting to see some employers lay people off because of AI. So it's starting to happen. I know multiple people who've had their jobs affected. Some were laid off or reclassified because of AI. They saw layoffs at their company. It's scary, and this is all in service of profit for these corporations. They don't care about you, the worker. But one thing the Democrats can and should be doing right now is fighting for and making central to their messaging going into 2026 a robust, progressive, populist platform, and then delivering on it. Because you could make the argument that to some extent the Biden campaign, through its collaboration and strategic alignment with some elements of the Bernie campaign in 2020, led to them beating Trump. It certainly wasn't enough, and they had nothing to point to meaningfully going into 2024. You can pave the way for long-term political success if you not only make it central to your party, but actually fight and deliver on it. And I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Well, look, honestly, that's why I started Rebellion PAC, because they're never gonna learn. You have to just beat them, right? And so you have to show them by example. If Ojeda and Randy Bryce win in their districts and JD Schulten wins Iowa, maybe, economic populism. Oh, that's how you do it. Like with Mamdani, they're like, oh, you propose new things. The morons literally didn't know that. They're like, I thought you just tell them, shut up and we'll do nothing for you and we're better than the Republicans. What, that's not a winning strategy, right? No, it's not. So they're immovable. The Democratic leadership is so corporate, so corrupt. We have a story on it later in this program. They're totally and utterly immovable. You have to just move around them, right? If Democrats don't go towards economic populism in 26 and 28, they'll give up a golden opportunity. I mean, this is going to be a change moment. I think 28 is like Obama. Obama had a moment in 2008 where he could have done massive change and he chickened out and didn't do it, right? This time you have to do it, otherwise you'll kill the Democratic Party. You have to promise it and you have to deliver it. If you don't do that, bye-bye Democratic Party. They'll never ever trust you again. On the other hand, if you do it, my God, in the middle of desperation, which is I think where we're gonna go, if you then deliver for the American people and give them some sort of salvation and you lift their wages and you reduce prices, they'll love you for 40, 50 years. Just ask FDR, right? So guys, as dark as the times are now, like as I was gonna say the sentence, I pulled it back. I was gonna say, if the Democrats play it right, then it's also an enormous, amazing opportunity to change the country for the better. The problem is the beginning of that sentence, if the Democrats play it right. Okay, rebellionpac.com, let's make them play it right. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.